The title for this exhibition is Essential Spaces. Can you tell me how your paintings get into the essential spaces?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. About 3 years ago, I changed the way that I was working. I made a decision that I wanted to try something different. I'd been working with acrylics. I wanted to continue with acrylics, but I was doing work that was based on photographs, landscapes, skyscapes. I wanted to try a different way of working. And I'd had this feeling that I wanted to do paintings that were mostly white and that were more about space than objects. And at that time, I was living on Hornby Island, and we were having a lot of wind storms. The wind was a very strong influence on me. And so I thought, okay, this is what's happening right now in nature, is wind, a lot of wind. And so I wanted to paint that. So I found a way of working, which these paintings are part of that. These two and this one are some of the first paintings that I did in a series that I called my wind paintings. And in them I'm using a lot of paint and texture to depict movement, a sense of movement, but that the movement is it's kind of all around you. It's not just something moving, it's just a sense of movement in the space. And so I used different ways of getting texture to depict that, and birds seemed like a natural element to have in paintings about space and about wind, because they're so much, that's their element. That's a big part of their element. So some birds showed up. And also sometimes other sort of mythical characters would show up. And this character is saying something about natural forces and how there's a mystery about them, and how sometimes one thing can change into another in a very mysterious way. And so and he's very much in that space and kind of shifting his natural element into another element. So these characters show up. In these paintings I'm really working with that sense of the space around us, and how we think of it as being just invisible, like blank, nothing. But to me, it's full of potential and full of information. And so I've used a kind of, I call it a proto-language, or almost like a form of writing that's not quite writing, to, I guess, symbolize the information and molecules that are in the space around us, and in us too, because there's actually a lot of space within any form. There is space within that form. So when you think about the process of breathing, we're interacting with the space around us when we're breathing. And so I'm really informed by and wanting to express a sense of buoyancy and movement that kind of lifts us up in a way. There's been, some of my paintings have this shape in them that I refer to as a mountain, and this is the most recent one. And to me, a mountain is a form of it's the earth and the elements of earth, but it's up in the air too. It's connected with the ground, but it's also up in the air. And so there's kind of a special relationship there between mountains and sky and air. And to me, it's also an image for meditation, because of its shape. There's that sense of grounding, and then everything's moving around it, but it's staying solid and firm, but still very much influenced by and acted on by the air and the movement of the air and the forces around it. So there's then more recently I've started painting nests, and it's felt like a natural outgrowth of the whole wind paintings series, because it's like a home in the wind. And the fact that there's a lot of things about nests, just the variety of shapes, and the fact that they're made by birds, to me is such a wonder and a mystery. That here's a structure, a beautiful structure that's woven together, and birds do it, you know. And there's a mystery in that I find very appealing. And also, a nest is, if you look at it as a symbol, it's a place where life comes to be, you know, where eggs are laid and then nurtured, and then new life comes from a nest. So that has intrigued me, and then I've been experimenting with different settings for nests, like what would happen if a nest was in the night and somehow moving in the air. And so I've just been trying different ways of working with them, and with every painting there's what I think I want to do, and then there's what happens. You know, like this one started sprouting. And it's almost like it's coming to life again as a new life form in itself, because it's getting roots and new branches, and yet it's also kind of a portal through to outer space and the Milky Way. So it's simple and it's natural, but it's also a mystery. And I think that is really at the heart of a lot of my work. It's a simple thing. It's a very ordinary thing in a way, and yes, it's extremely extraordinary and full of wonder and a mystery.
So is a color very important for you to express what you want to express?
Yeah, color is very important. I made a decision with these paintings, and it just felt right to use a lot of white. But when you're painting with white, there's always other colors that come into it too, but subtly. So, for instance, with this one, it's mainly white, but I call this one New Mountain, and it has a feeling of being. It's like mineral colors that you'd find in the earth, but they're very fresh fresh and earth at the same time. And then those colors just kind of influence the white around. So colors often have a symbolic meaning for me, but sometimes I'm just compelled to use a color, and I don't know why exactly. It's just that's what I want to see next. So like in this one, this nest here, the green just was, because it's symbolizing new life, the green just seemed like a natural color to use. And so often I'll see the color that I want to have there before I start, and then as I'm working, another color will come to my attention. It's like, oh, we need some blue here, or and I may have a rationale for that, but somehow it just feels right.